sweeper keeper, ball playing defender, libero, wingback, inverted wingback, center midfielder, inverted winger, inside forward, advanced forward. Creating a tactic in Football Manager can be daunting, but understanding some of the principles of creating a tactic may help you go a long way in this process. Let's imagine that we have taken over Liverpool and we want to create or recreate their tactic. Now, I'm sorry if you hate Liverpool. The first thing you should do is to check the club's vision. Of course, as a player of the game, you have your own ideas for the playing style and the tactical formation, but if you ignore this part, it might cost you your job. The next step is to check the squad. With Liverpool, it might be easier as the players are well known, but it is always a good thing to analyze the available players so you can get an idea of what roles they can play. You can do this by filtering the positions and taking note of which players can play in which position. Another way to get a grasp of your squad is to go to Squad Planner, Report and then Best 11. Also, going to Squad Planner, Report and Assistant Report gives you an idea of the strengths and weaknesses of the squad. After you have finished analyzing the squad, the next step is to get into the tactic creation. Selecting one of the preset tactics, flagged by your assistant manager through the thumbs up icon, loading a tactic of your choice, previously created or downloaded, or creating your own style and basically creating the tactic from scratch. Going with the first approach, Gegenpress for example, and 4-3-3 DM wide will give you this setup, which is Liverpool in a way. What you should keep in mind though, is that if you do this, you should alter as less as possible the team instructions, as they are linked to the approach of play and tweaking them too much might lead to confusing the players on the pitch. We'll go with creating our own style and we'll try to recreate the current Liverpool tactic. In goal, since we already know that the tactic will be aggressive in possession, I'll choose a sweeper keeper on attack. The support duty works also, however on attack, the goalkeeper goes out of his way to sweep up the loose balls, kind of like Manuel Neuer in his prime. For Trent Alexander-Arnold's role, we have multiple choices. It depends on what you want Trent to do. Fullback and wingback will prompt him to overlap and stretch the pitch in possession, and inverted wingback will prompt him to drift inside. If we are to emulate how Trent currently plays for Liverpool, I would go with the inverted wingback role on support duty. This way, he drifts inside and gets up into the midfield space when possible. For the center backs, I will go with the central defender and the ball playing defender role. The reason being that Ibrahima Konate is more defensive oriented and more physical, thus a central defender on defend. And Virgil van Dijk is more cultured in the passing game based on his attributes. I will choose defend duty as I want them to stay in line since the tactic is aggressive and they will be pulled out of their positions at times anyway. Analyzing the player's attributes, as we did with Virgil van Dijk, can tell you a lot about what roles they can perform on the pitch. When selecting a role to look at, green highlights the important attributes for the role and blue the nice to have ones. On the left side we have Andy Robertson. He's an aggressive player when in possession, pushing up the field and helping to overload the left flank at times. Both the fullback and the wingback roles suit him. The difference is that the wingback role pushes up more, having the get further forward instruction already selected. As Andy Robertson has the gets forward whenever possible trait, I'll go with the wingback on support. The defensive midfield role was owned by Fabinho when he was the Liverpool player, but without him, Alexis McAllister or Endo must try and fulfill it. Since Fabinho is not here, I will go with the defensive midfielder on support. The defensive midfielder role prioritizes the defensive duties but helps the possession game also once the ball is recovered. Now comes the hard part. These two positions can be assigned a variety of roles that play well together. On the right side, keeping in mind that Trent will come and take this position at times, we must ask this player to move out of the way. The options are up, lateral or diagonally. A center midfielder or a roaming playmaker role will get the player up like this. The box-to-box midfielder and the advanced playmaker roles will do the same, but not as aggressive. The carrilero prompts the player to drift wide, horizontally, and the deep line playmaker will stay in the same place, distributing passes. Given this and having in mind how Mohamed Salah plays as well, I'll go with the Mezzala role, on attack duty. Dominic Szoboszlai in this example will push up diagonally, taking the winger's place. Having attack duty means that he will not participate actively in the passing game, he will look to drag on opponents and stretch the game. And doing so, the winger will need to cut inside. Since this is Mo Salah's role, several options are available also. Either a winger with cuts inside instruction, an inverted winger or an inside forward. As Mo Salah already has the cuts inside from right wing and the runs with ball often traits, an inside forward role is best suited for him. Inverted winger works too, but this role is not as incisive or aggressive as the inside forward. The inside forward acts more like a wide striker. I'll go with the attack duty, as we rely on only one striker and the wingers must be goal threats as well. One thing that I'll do is to ask Mo Salah to start from a wider position, thus stretching the pitch. With this combination of roles, we have created a movement like Liverpool's real-life approach. On the left side, a center midfielder is the best option, as we need someone to push up. I'll go with an automatic duty, so that the mentality dictates how aggressive the player plays. And since Andy Robertson already overlaps, the winger here can be an inverted winger or an inside forward. For the same reason of having only one striker, I will go with an inside forward on attack duty. But this time, I will ask the player to start from a narrower position to provide room for Andy Robertson to overlap. And the striker will be a deep line forward, as we need him to drop deeper to pick up the ball in possession, throwing one of the opposing center backs onto him and making room for the inside forwards to run into. In attack, the tactic will look like this, a 2-2-6 or a 2-3-5 formation, depending on the game moment. As mentality, I will go with balanced or positive. I usually use balanced when I need to assess how the opposition starts the game. As team instructions, make sure to not select something that would contradict what the players were told to do through their player roles or player instructions. For example, overlap on the right side is not needed, as both players naturally look to drift inside. But on the left side, this is useful as Andy Robertson needs to overlap to overload that side of the pitch. We will also play out of defense, as we have composed players, capable of passing the ball around to get out of the opposition's pressing trap. As passing directness, I will go with shorter, as we need to keep possession and a higher tempo to pass the ball up the field as fast as possible. This is meant to represent how fast the player decides to pass the ball once it is at his feet. I would have gone for work the ball into the box, but since we pass the ball shorter and with a higher tempo, there is no time left to patiently passing it around until an opening comes up. I will also add run and defense, as we want the players to be as aggressive as possible in possession and look for the break. As it helps scoring goals, I will also tick the play for set pieces option. Not selecting one of the remaining parts doesn't mean that they are not taken into consideration in the match engine. Not selecting them causes the players to select them when needed, so they will pass into space or walk the ball into the box if the game moment requires it. In transition, of course, we'll go with counter press, counter and distribute quickly. I usually go with roll it out and to the defense setup, but in this case I will not do it, as I want to let Alisson decide the best course of action. However, keep in mind that selecting roll it out and to the defense means that you can preserve possession better. You can also ask the goalkeeper to distribute the ball to a certain position if you need to. Out of possession, I will go with a higher line of engagement and a higher defensive line. The line of engagement is the most important part here, as it defines where your team will start pressing, and this, in turn, defines which players are left behind if the press fails. In our case, the 3 attackers and the 2 midfielders may be taken out if the opposition is well versed in the art of passing from the back, leaving you to defend with 5 players and the goalkeeper on a higher defensive line. A higher defensive line works for Liverpool, as the defenders are quite fast and can cover the space left behind. But if your defenders are not fast enough, lower the line to a standard one. However, don't get scared and lower it further. As slow as your defenders may be, a lower defensive line just invites pressure, and pressure on your backline, at least in Football Manager 2024, is not a desirable thing. A mid-block means that the attacking players will start pressing out of the final third, giving more time on the ball to the opposing defenders but controlling the pressing game better. Again, for Liverpool, I will keep it on a higher line of engagement and a higher defensive line. We will trigger the press more often, much more often will just tire your players due to the intensity. We will also prevent the goalkeeper short distribution to make sure that we recover the ball as fast as possible. Beware that ticking this option gets your players in slightly more advanced positions than the normal ones. Other than this, I will not tick anything else here. Get stuck in means that your players will tackle more than usual. Whenever there is a 50-50 situation on the ball, they will tackle often, in a bid to recover the ball. Step up more enables the players to get in the face of the opposition when defending, not giving them time on the ball. Trap inside or outside tells your players to tuck in or defend wider, depending on what you choose. And stop crosses tells your players to try and stop any crossing opportunity. Of course, get stuck in, step up more and stop crosses will work fine for this Liverpool tactic. However, considering how aggressive the tactic already is, ticking these options would unbalance it completely. And the secret with tactics creation is to keep them as balanced as possible. I would recommend playing as many matches as possible, as it gives you a chance to observe how the tactic plays out and tweak if needed. I hope that this guide helped you understand better tactics creation, and I will leave you with a few goals that emulate what we wanted to create.